How about we start with the title of the show, G?
The title of the show, well, that's winging it. That's exactly what we're doing. We are totally winging this and have absolutely no idea what we're doing. Welcome everybody to our very first episode of Winging It. My name is G, and joining me today is Amy.
Hello. Thank you. Welcome to you.
Thank you. I'm very welcome. So this series of Winging It is a round the world flight in the very longest possible route that we can find. It's not exactly correct, but we're going to be doing a VFR flight around the world, and we're not going to be taking a direct route. We're just going to be taking the scenic route. So whatever we find that looks interesting, that's where we're going to head, and eventually we'll end up back here, hopefully after seeing a lot of awesome scenery that is provided for us in the new Microsoft Flight Simulator. So without further ado, let's start these aircraft up, and we'll get into the sky, and then we'll start talking about some other stuff.
Just going through my checklist at the moment, so
I reckon I'm just going to flick buttons. I'm sure all of these need to be turned on. I'll give it some of that, and we'll stick that in and turn that up a little bit. How's the fuel going? Yeah, that's plenty. Turn that on. The spinny thing at the front's spinning, so I guess that's good.
keeps you cool.
Yep, fan's going.
Alright, avionics and lights. Parking brake is released, and I am good to go.
Alrighty.
So where are we actually starting here, G? Whereabouts are we in the world?
So at the moment we are currently at Parafield Airport, which is YPPF, I believe it is.
YPPF?
YPPF, YPPP, yeah, YPPF. And which is
YPP
in
there.
YPP there. It's a general aviation airfield in South Australia, just north of the CBD of Adelaide. It's actually a really well-known airport for flight lessons. I think it's Malaysia Airlines. No, Singapore Airlines. No, Cathay Pacific. That's
Virgin,
the one.
I think. Yeah,
Yep.
quite a few.
Send a lot of their international students here for flight training. Yeah, it's so it's quite well known worldwide. But the main reason we picked it is because we're both from Adelaide originally, and we've been to this airport many times for various reasons, and yeah, so we figured we'd start here and head east. That's pretty much the only plan we have at this stage, is start here, head east, eventually get back here. So, all right, if you want to.
Shall we head off and?
Yeah, if you want to taxi out to, was it 26L, 26 left this time?
No.
And I will follow you.
The reason we're laughing is because we've actually already been through this, and we had issues with our stream, so.
Yes, hopefully this time it's far better.
Actually, the stream went really well. It was just the recording.
It was good. This is basically a re-recording of the original stream. We had some technical difficulties, but that's okay. Ha! You almost took out that vehicle from my point of view. I don't think the vehicles are synchronized.
It's this first runway here, isn't it?
No, that's the next one along.
It's the next one over. Yeah.
That's the reason I had. That's the issue I had last time. No, that's okay.
So Parafield's normally quite a busy airport, isn't it, G? With all the small aircraft that are basically baby pilots learning to fly.
there's at least 2 different flight schools based out of Parafield. One being was it ATC, I think it is, or
FTA.
FTA even. That's a pretty big one. That's where all the future airline pilots do their training, and then there's a smaller private-ish one that's run by somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But there's helicopter training, general aviation training. There's simulators. There's cadet squadrons. There's a museum. There's warbird flights. There's all sorts of stuff happening at this airport. On any given day, you've probably got 30 or 40 training flights flying out of here, at least. There's always flights going all over the place.
Did I go the wrong way there? No, I didn't.
No, it's take your next left.
Yeah.
Whoops. Oh, crap, my tail wheel's still... Oh, there we go.
Just gonna cut this corner here.
Yeah, I've been cutting corners all over the place. I don't know if my tail was locked or not. No, that's... So we're flying in the... what are we flying in? The X-Crafters?
X-Cub? X-Cub?
X-Crafters, X-Cub, Cub Crafters, X-Cub. That's the one at the moment. It's a fun little aircraft. We've been... Why is that doing that? Oh, this thing...
Alright, I'm going to take off straight away, mate. All good?
Yep, no problems, go for it. Yeah, we're floating around in this aircraft a little bit. It's a fun little aircraft. Can pretty much land on a dime, goes anywhere, lands anywhere. Relatively fast, yeah.
Worked out last night, it's as fast as the Cessna.
Yeah, it's slightly faster than the Skyhawk. And has slightly better range. And has far more possibilities for landing and anything else you want to do with it. So we decided with this as our aircraft for the first leg of the journey.
Mm-hmm. So, G, once you've taken off, mate, you want to just talk about the series and what our plans are for it, how we're going to format the series, how often we're going to be streaming?
The plan at this stage is to stream our recording sessions on Twitch, and then we will upload edited videos to YouTube after the fact. That will... So we'll probably record several videos at once and then upload. And then, yeah, that's the plan. We both have full-time jobs, so that may end up getting delayed a little bit here and there, but we'll do our best. The plan for the series, apart from that, as I said, is just flying to whatever looks interesting. There's no real destination in mind. We're gonna have kind of a destination in mind for each episode. For instance, this episode we're flying from Parafield to Goolwa, which is about 100 kilometers south of Adelaide, give or take, maybe a little less than that. But we're not going to go in a direct route. We're going to take the scenic route along the ocean, along the beach, and see what we can find along the way.
So they're going to be roughly 30-minute to an hour long episodes. I think we've worked out is probably the best time. And like G said, depending on where we're landed, or if we have maybe a challenge that we might try and challenge ourselves to do, yeah, it might be longer, it might be shorter. And that's where I guess the feedback from people like yourselves, whoever's watching, you can tell us what sort of format you like to see. You know, would you like to see us fly different aircraft, or have you got a place that you'd like us to visit? And we can view it from the air. It'd be good to get some feedback, and even just in general, this is probably one of the first times that we've streamed together consistently. So any feedback is welcomed. We're going to also be uploading to YouTube with the stream as well.
Yes, yeah.
Yep.
No, like as you were saying, we're planning on having a few challenges, and like we're pretty competitive between the two of us. So if we see the opportunity to challenge each other to some sort of skill test, then we'll definitely have a go at that. So some episodes might be direct flights from point A to point B because there's not much to look at. Other episodes we might spend quite a long time in one area doing stuff or just sightseeing. But that's all kind of up in the air, should I say?
We're winging it, aren't we?
Well, we definitely are. That's the whole point. Yep. Yeah. So that off to the left there is the CBD of Adelaide. It's a big country town, really.
Quite a nice town, actually.
Where did you disappear to?
I think I went up slightly above you.
Oh, there you are. Yep. I was following you, and you were right in front of me, and I turned my head and turned back, and you disappeared.
I'm just tracking towards the Adelaide Airport just to fly over it, so I'm not aiming straight for it.
Yep. No, that's cool.
I can see you right there. Yep.
So yeah, anyone who's wants to give us some ideas of things they want to see, or if they want to places they want for us to visit, challenges that you might want to give us, feel free to let us know in the comments.
Yeah, feel free to give those to G mainly.
No. Who landed on top of whatever that mountain was yesterday, and who ended up on their roof?
Yeah, that was me. Yep, we've actually we've had a few little challenges we've done already, and we've had the game for 2 days now, and
yep.
It's been quite enjoyable.
Yes, it's quite spectacular. Very peaceful.
So, yeah, very peaceful. It is actually quite peaceful up here. I didn't see any weather, by the way, G, so I don't know if you want me to turn on any weather or if you're happy to leave that.
I did notice it was quite blue skies.
It's
up to you if you want to turn on some live weather.
What's the weather like in Adelaide at the moment, mate?
It's okay. There's a few showers about, but they're kind of very scattered, so I think I'm actually flying over the airport right about now. Yeah, there it is down there.
Alright, live weather's up. We've got a bit of cloud now.
Alright, that'll take a couple of seconds to pop in. That there is the Adelaide Airport that we're flying directly over.
Straight over, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, if you look at the satellite map, the new hotel's still being built there.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah. Harbour Town.
Now, with those challenges we were talking about earlier, G, we were talking about this earlier. We've got some rules that we think we sort of established. So, I think we said we weren't going to allow refueling unless we'd landed. I think was one of them.
Yeah.
Swapping of aircrafts. That's
swapping of aircraft. Go on. Go with the rest of it.
Yeah, swapping of aircraft. So that's going to be another thing we do. Can't do that in the air. We'll do that if we've landed. Some lakes we might choose a different aircraft because it's going to be quicker or easier to fly certain aircraft in certain terrain. So we'll change up those. But as for the actual flying part of it, we'll try and things like weather, for example, we won't turn that on if it's going to be an overcast day, some live weather, for example, if it's really rainy, it makes it very hard to spot things, and it's not as enjoyable. So for the most part, we're going to be flying VFR, which Visual Flight Rules, um, and occasionally, maybe later on, we might challenge ourselves with some IFR, so instrument rules, and that's when you're in flying in clouds and stuff like that. So, but for the most part, it's going to be all visual flying. Just makes it a bit more easy and hopefully more enjoyable.
Well, yeah, it's. I mean, the graphics and the what do you call it, like the terrain that they've given us with all the buildings and the roads, and it really it's meant for VFR flying. Unlike most flight sims, which are designed for IFR flying because they just don't have the fidelity for proper VFR. This is one of the first flight sims where you can do proper VFR and really, really just enjoy it. It's great. With some of those
That might
rules.
be a good
Oh, sorry.
Might be a good segue to talk about some of the stuff we're enjoying with the stuff we're not enjoying. What are the things you really like about it?
The clouds are awesome. The weather system is awesome. It's so volumetric. The terrain out in the countrysides where there's not so many buildings and stuff is spectacular. The flight models are great as far as I can tell. Like they seem to have a little bit more I don't even know what the word for it is, but they're not quite as on rails as FSX was. You get bumped around a lot more. There's more turbulence. There's more wind. There's just generally more stuff that goes on. Couple of things I'm not too impressed with. Well, not saying I'm not impressed with. It's not what I was expecting. I was kind of expecting a little bit more. Is some of the low res textures for like the satellite data and stuff like that. As you can see in like cities and built up areas, some of it is a little low res. Still spectacular and still way better than anything we've ever had, but just a little bit not underwhelming, just not as I'd really hoped. But
We've had a few issues.
Thing.
Had a few issues as well with like the multiplayer systems as well. So earlier we were testing. The group. We're in a group at the moment, and sometimes that phases in and out of each other depending on, if you're close to someone. So if you see G, for example, if he disappears from my screen, it's likely because of that one of those little multiplayer bugs at the moment. But yeah, like, me personally, I'm enjoying it. It's fantastic having a wide selection of aircraft to choose
Yeah. Yep.
from, and like you said, the scenery is spot on. Like I'm looking around at the moment, I can pick out a bunch of reservoirs in the Adelaide Hills. I can spot certain roads that I know I've travelled on. So
yeah,
it's good. I can see you just down there below me, G. I'll try and join up with you.
Yeah, it's it is spectacular overall. There's a few minor bugs here and there, and there's a few connectivity issues from time to time, but nothing that really deters from the game itself. I hear a buzzing aeroplane nearby. Oh, there he is.
That's me. Sorry, I actually
overcooked it.
I lost track of where I was there for a second.
Yeah.
Bit of situational awareness would have helped.
Yes.
I was distracted by my camera view.
Neither of us are professional pilots. We both have a very strong liking of aircraft and the hobby itself. We have played just about every virtual flight sim that's been available. We've got between us thousands of virtual sim hours, but we play quite a lot of DCS, which is a combat flight sim. but this is the first civil aviation sim or general aviation sim that has kind of piqued our interest for a very long time. But because we're not pilots, like professional pilots, we're not going to fly by the book. We're not going to fly by rules and that sort of stuff. We might do some parts of it in the future, but for the most part, we're just going to do what we want, fly where we want, and just have a blast doing it.
Absolutely. I think one thing that we're both looking forward to is flying on the VATSIM network is a really good example. So that's basically pretty much real life air traffic control. It's not real life air traffic control in that sense, but it's actually properly simulated. So you actually have people, volunteers, who will dedicate their time to learning the art of air traffic controlling, and basically will sit in an airport and direct traffic in this virtual world. And it's actually very immersive. So that's something we're both looking forward to getting back into. Um, that's just another one of those procedural things. And like G said, it's nice just to be able to fly freely between places without having to worry about radios and stuff for the time being. So
I mean, we're always out to learn new things. And I mean, we can both fly pretty much any aircraft, and we can flick switches, and we know how to do all the basics, but we're not too fussed about actual proper speeds and proper procedures for these things. It's fun to learn those things from time to time, but in this kind of sense, we just want to have some fun. Just
yeah,
want to
that's what it's
go
all
for a
about.
fly, look at all the nice scenery. As I said before, we'll probably do some proper procedures and stuff from time to time when we come to some interesting places. But it's just look at all the pretty scenery. It's so good. Why would you want to have your head buried in the cockpit pushing buttons and all that sort of stuff when there's so much nice scenery out there?
Yeah, it's also good to be able to fly with someone else too. Like, I think when you first asked me, like, because this is basically your idea, wasn't it, G? You said that you just knew the game was coming out, and like you said, it was looking quite good, um, and you wanted to set yourself that sort of challenge of flying around the world, which is something you and I haven't done. But this is definitely the game to do that in, and trying to do that by yourself, it would definitely be an accomplishment. But I think doing it with yourself and with you with myself, it just adds a bit more you know uh, fun to it. We
Yeah,
can challenge each other.
share
We
the
can talk
experience.
about stuff along the way. Yeah. So yeah, I might say to G, how about we land on that beach over there, or how about we go under that bridge? By the way, don't try that because you can't do that at the moment. But
Yeah.
um, but you can, you know what I mean. You can actually challenge each other and have fun with it. If you crash, I think we talked about this earlier. G, we'll have like a crash cam up, um, count the number of crashes we've. Um, I almost flew in formation there. That was quite nice.
It's hard to see you under my wing because with the high
It's a
wing.
high wing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's in the back seat there? I didn't know you were
Ah,
taking passengers.
it's my friend. Yeah. Actually, I can't see them in my view, but I know
No,
what you
I
mean.
just
But
noticed that. I'm pretty sure I have someone in my back seat, but when I look behind me, there's no one there.
let me check. Yeah, I can see your friend in the back.
Right, but there
Maybe the
isn't.
stream can help us. Maybe anyone listening can give us some recommendations for our invisible friends in the back seats.
We need names for our
Um,
invisible friends. Yeah.
but so we're at the moment, G. We're roughly
I um.
Selix Hill
Select Hill. Hang on. Let me go to
or
external
coming
view and
up,
have a
or
look. No,
Aldinga
that's all Dinga coming up here. So we're just flying over
or Ding
Seaford now. Yeah.
Town.
So that below us there, I reckon, is
Nice.
Maslin's Beach, and then Aldinga up in front.
It's a very well-known wine region in Australia up here. Is McLaren Vale, sort of heading towards the hills over there on the left side. Yeah, that's
Yeah, your mic's seems to be playing up there a bit, Amy. It's cutting out and going a little bit roboty. That wouldn't happen to be your CPU playing or melting, would it?
it's kind of why we picked.
No, we only got a couple of those words. While Amy's computer tries to keep up with the melting, we might just fly on here a little bit. But yeah, that's all Dinga down there. Pretty much the most southern suburb of Adelaide. Still with us there, Amy? No, maybe he's gone altogether. I think Amy might have fixed his issues. He's caught up a little bit. His computer's melting. Might be a good time to tell the people what sort of hardware we're running at the moment and what sort of settings we're using. If you want to go first,
I'll try to go first. I don't know how much of it you're going to hear. How's that sound, G?
Yeah, it seems fine at the moment.
So I'm got a 6600K i5, so it's probably about 5 years old now. And I think we've realised that those 4-core CPUs are a little bit taxed on this game. I've got a 1660 graphics card, and 32 gig of RAM, and the game on an SSD.
I think it's chugging along there again.
How much of it did you get, mate?
We got everything up to about SSD, so that's pretty much that's all the pertinent information there. I'm currently running a Intel i7 8700, I believe, if my memory serves me, and I've got a GTX 1080. Also on an SSD with 32 gig of RAM, and I'm running the game on ultra settings for the most part. A couple of things I've turned off just for personal preference more than anything. And I'm getting around about around about 30 odd frames most of the time. It does drop every now and again, especially in really dense places like New York, things like that. It will drop down to a very stuttery amount. But again, that's probably a little bit to do with optimization of the game, as well as of how much it actually requires to do the job. When it comes to peripherals, I'm using HOTAS Warthog from Thrustmaster, and I'm also using Thrustmaster T rudder pedals and a track IR, which is very, very useful for this game. I'm glad they decided to implement it before full release. There was a period of time there where they said it wasn't going to be ready for release, and everyone was like, no, you can't have a flight simulator game without track IR. But no, luckily it's in and it's working. How are you going back there, Amy? I still see you catching up. Computer hasn't melted yet. Whereabouts are we coming up to now? We should be, oh yeah, just over to our left there is the Myponga Reservoir. There's one of many reservoirs around the place. Yeah, this scenery out here once you get out of the city is just spectacular. Like, this is exactly how it looks. Well, it's exactly how it looks in the summertime. In the wintertime it's a little greener, but in the summertime it's exactly that colour, and exactly that's all just hills of grass and trees. Not many trees, but a few trees. I can just imagine Amy's computer at the moment, just liquid metal just dripping out of the case. The game is a little resource intensive. Most of my resources are pretty much maxed out, so I think we're both looking at upgrading pretty soon.
Should be right at 3 o'clock.
Oh yeah, I see it. We had a couple of minor technical issues there. Amy's computer has melted. It's now a puddle of goo. So he had to do a reset, but we're all good. We're back going. If he goes roboty again and has issues, we'll see what happens. But hopefully a reset has fixed that. And see, I mean, that's actually one of the good things about the game. Even though he's had problems and had to reset the game from scratch and everything, he's still exactly where he left off.
Yeah, so, look at that. Beautiful.
Yeah. It's
like I never left.
Yeah.
Shall we head over to those windmills again, G, and then head across to Goolwa?
Yeah, I think we'll just follow the beach all the way around, and eventually we'll get to Goolwa. So Goolwa at the moment is probably just off to the left slightly, but the peninsula that's up here kind of just curves around. Actually, if I bring up the VFR map, so here's the VFR map, and you'll see that where we're headed is over here, and we're just going to follow the coast around. Shouldn't be too far. So in a minute you'll actually see Kangaroo Island up in front of us. Our original plan was to fly to Kingscote, which is on Kangaroo Island, but we decided that we'd be doing a lot of backtracking if we did that, so we're just going to fly around the end of the peninsula and back towards Goolwa. No, there's a very nice long stretch of sandy beach down there, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Very pretty. I'm just heading over the water a bit.
Yeah, you seem to be fine at the moment with your.
Yeah, I've got a lot better frames at the moment than I had before. So.
Well, as I said, when I logged on the first time we did this, I didn't have I had issues with the drone camera, and I had issues with trying to get bindings, like key bindings done, but that's all fixed as well this time around, so it might just be a loading bug.
So what else have we covered off with this little introduction episode, G? We've been through what we're trying to achieve. We've talked about some of the rules.
Yeah.
We talked about the challenges for ourselves and why we're flying it. I guess actually we're talking about peripherals. I think what I left.
Yeah, I went over the peripherals that I was using.
Yeah.
And PC specs and things. You might want to fill people in on what peripherals you're using.
Yeah, I'll go through it quickly. So I've got an i5 6600K, so it's 4 years old. 1660 graphics card and games on SSD with 32 gigs of RAM. It performs pretty well. Do get a bit of an issue like we just had with the CPU on my machine. It's a little bit older. It's only got 4 cores. But yeah, simulation is one of those things that anyone can sort of get into. It's great. You don't need a really beefy system, and a lot of YouTubers we've seen, a lot of streamers, they've got basically systems built by NASA, pretty much. Really, really expensive gaming rigs. You don't need that. You really just need the basics and those peripherals that G mentioned. Some really basic input devices like a joystick, and you can have a lot of fun with this sort of stuff. So, if you want any sort of recommendations, I'm sure we'll both be able to help you out. And maybe, who knows, we might even see some of you guys flying. It'd be great.
Yeah, for sure. How nice that water is down there. It's so good.
It's really pretty, isn't it? The
lighting is great as well.
What's some features you're looking forward to adding, G? I think I said earlier I'd love them to add gliders. Would be a big thing for me.
Yeah, gliders. I found something interesting earlier today when I was exploring. There's no helicopters in the game yet, but they're in the main map where you choose your airports and stuff you want to fly from. There is an option to filter out heliports. I didn't find any heliports that were actually in the thing, but there is a filter option for heliports. So whether that is a bit of a hint that they will be adding helicopters at some point or not, I've got my fingers crossed. I would love to see helicopters in the game. But
yeah, it's good fun.
Yeah, no reason to add a heliport filter if you're not adding heliports and by extension helicopters. So I can't see Microsoft and Asobo adding more handcrafted airports or aircraft. I think they will probably leave that up to third-party developers, which I'm more than happy for. If third-party developers put in the same time and effort that they have for the rest of the game, then I'd be willing to purchase some of those ones if they're places that I like or aircraft that I'm interested in. But I hope that they continue to develop the AI that they've used for producing the buildings and that sort of stuff, because it's really good. Like, it's really, really, really good, but it's also not perfect. Bridges are one big thing. Like, a lot of the bridges are just underwater or underground, or just they follow the terrain and don't actually produce a bridge. I would like to see that fixed if possible. And there's a lot of handcrafted assets that really need to be made for some of the world's landmarks. Like, for instance, Sydney Harbour Bridge. It's a pretty well-known landmark. It's a pretty well-known, famous bridge. Yet it's just a flat bridge in the simulator at the moment. And I know they haven't had time to... Yes?
Sorry to interrupt you, mate. I'm going to go fly between some of these windmills.
Yeah, go for it. And I know they haven't had time to handcraft a lot of these sorts of assets and that sort of stuff, which is fine. No, that's fine. But I think they really need to start making at least something that's at least close to these landmarks. like windmills here, for instance. I was not expecting windmills to be here. Like they are in real life, they are here, but I was not expecting them to be in the.
Technically wind turbine, aren't they? Really, they're not
Technically,
windmills.
yeah. Well, they're not. Yeah, they're not milling any flour here.
They're
They're
not milling.
wind
No,
turbines.
there's no flour. Maybe electrons, but not flour.
Electrons. Yeah. We can. I reckon we can.
500.
Go,
Pardon me.
just
Although-
choking it.
I just choked on my windmill, on my flour. I was going to say, they're actually milling around at the moment, though.
Yeah, just weaving out between these.
Actually, that's a bit of fun there, flying under that. That's
Trying
good
not
fun.
to get
I
hit
like
by
it.
them.
That's a bit of a challenge you could do, just try and
Yeah.
fly through them all without being hit by the blade.
I missed one so far where I had to. It was too much of a turn, but I've threaded through the rest of them.
Right behind you. I've lost my track to Goolwa, so I'll follow you for the rest of the way in, mate.
Oh, so what you're saying is I need to lose you so that you get lost. Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, I'll find it eventually, but yeah.
It's not hard to find. Oh, I don't think I'm going to make that one. Nah, not going to make that one. Make the
No,
last
I'm
one.
not going to make that one either.
Oh, so much fun.
That's some good fun there. Glad we did that.
Yeah, postcard shot through the windmills. Yes. So that island you see out over the other side of the water there, that's Kangaroo Island. That is wrongly named. It should be called Koala Island, but whatever. It's deceptively large. And not much there.
Well, I mean, part of it burnt down during the summer.
Most of it burnt down,
last summer,
yeah.
didn't it?
Yeah. Half the island was on fire pretty much. Well, the sense of adventure, Galador, is trying not to die. We actually have a death counter that we will be putting up. So far, neither of us have died this time round.
Yeah, this time around.
This time round, but no, we're trying to. We're very competitive, so we're going to try and outdo each other with lack of deaths or trying not to die and all sorts of other crazy stuff. Which should make things rather interesting. There's Cape Jervis down there, which is the Elia town. And the harbour down there for the Kangaroo Island ferry. Alright, so I reckon we take a left-hand turn, follow the river or the beach around. Fly over Victor Harbour, see Granite Island. And then Goolwa is not far on past that.
It's pretty remote sort of farmland down here, isn't it? Well, not remote, but it's very isolated.
Yeah,
Is probably the word I'm
isolated, yeah. Yeah, well, a lot of this off to our left here is Deep Creek Conservation Park. It's very, very isolated, rugged terrain. You and I went for a walk down there one
yeah,
time.
I've been down there. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've been there a
I
few
think,
times actually.
Didn't we go with my dad?
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I almost died walking back up the mountain because I was stuffed.
It is a bit of a climb out of that valley actually.
Oh,
I know the one
yes.
you're talking about.
Yeah. There's actually a diving beach just down here. It's got the steepest road that goes down to it, and right at the end of the road is like a horseshoe or like a U-turn, and because it's so steep, there's nothing at the bottom. So if you lost your brakes or anything, you just go straight off into the water. And actually, it might even be this bit just up here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I reckon that's it. The road just in front of us there. That's the beach
Oh, yeah.
right below,
Oh,
below
yeah,
where
I
I
see what you
am.
mean.
And you see how it goes down the thing? You can't really see it here, but it's actually really, really steep. And you get to the end there, and it does a U-turn back on itself, and there's nothing stopping you going over the edge. It's quite
Yeah, I see what you mean.
yeah, quite scary. But
Yeah, I've been camping down Deep Creek a long time ago with Ollie, my partner, and yeah, it's good. It's actually quite a nice bit of stretch of coast.
yeah, it's very, very rugged and a bit isolated, but as much as you can be isolated this far from Adelaide, I mean, you're not that far away from Adelaide, but it's still if you get into trouble down there, you're going to have to be airlifted out. It's you're not getting any vehicles down in there. This is such a nice stretch of coastline. It's amazing how good this looks. I mean, I've flown around this kind of area to a very small degree in FSX, and it's just boring.
Yep.
Like, there's nothing here. It's just the same textures,
Green.
same boring, yeah, boring farmland. The land class, like the height of all this is pretty flat, which is not what it's like in real life. This is pretty accurate. Meanwhile, how am I going for fuel? Oh yeah, I've got one.
Yeah, actually, I've got a fresh aircraft. It is odd how this aircraft's got that fuel selector for one tank or the other, and you actually would easily. I could see a lot of pilots forgetting to select the other tank.
I just selected the other tank then because the one on the left is getting a little low compared to the one on the right. So my
I can imagine the
weighting would be a
avionics
bit
would
off.
come up with a warning. Yeah.
Yeah, possibly.
I mean,
Although,
I think you'd notice the weight and balance first, wouldn't you? Because it's all in one wing.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I hadn't noticed it yet, but it was starting to get to a point where it was unbalanced, and you would think it would start rolling to the left a little bit, or to the right even, because it's heavier in the right side.
Yep.
But nah.
Getting a bit of a sunset happening here, G.
Yeah, it's getting to that time.
It's getting a bit late, isn't it? What time we local time? Maybe 5 o'clock?
Local time is 5:06, yeah. Sunset's around about 6:30 at the moment, so...
Yeah, it's definitely setting.
Oh, hang on a second.
You just turned to a ghost.
That's the wrong button.
You just...
And you sound really close all of a sudden.
I just flew right under you.
Oh, yep. I was actually looking for the...
There you are.
Oh, no, are you still group leader? Do you still have access to the
no, I don't know. I think you're the group leader because I had to join off you, remember?
Yeah, I don't have access to the weather icon though.
Hang on. Let me have a look for a sec.
Because I just noticed the weather's gone back to perfect blue skies.
It's been like that for the whole trip, mate.
Wasn't it? Didn't you have a live weather at some point?
That was the last stream, remember?
No, but I'm sure you did it this stream too.
Yeah, it's grayed out for me as well.
Okay. Oh well. I guess we're having a perfect flight then. That's okay.
Nice clear day.
It actually looks like this in the summer, pretty much. Just plain clear blue skies. Yeah. I'm really tempted to land on that beach.
That's the one Ollie and I camped on, actually. I'm positive it's the beach we've camped on.
Yeah.
You can go for landing if you like.
You can see our shadows in the water.
Can you?
Yeah, off to the right a little bit. Yeah. That's cool.
Ah, yes.
I'm being chased by something.
An angry mosquito.
Yeah, it sounds like that. A lawnmower with wings. I might land on the next beach because This stream is going a little long.
I don't
It's
think
probably not
Goolwa's
that
that
long.
far.
No, I reckon we've got the Bluff and Granite Island and Victor Harbour up not too far away, and then Goolwa's maybe 5 minutes after that. So let's bring up the VFR map and have a look at that again. How are we going? Yeah.
Oh,
So
you know
that-
what? Actually, yeah. Because we follow the coast, it's going to be a longer trip.
Yeah. We're not far. That see that point up in front? That is where we'll start turning back in, and just around the corner from that is Victor Harbour. So I think we're about maybe 5-10 minutes away from interesting stuff.
That's the thing with flying. It's good to fly with someone like yourself, G, because it's someone to talk to. It's
Exactly.
It's otherwise it'd be quite a long trip, all the way around the world by yourself.
Yeah, it's very therapeutic. Like it's very cool just to fly and look at all the scenery. But it's definitely nice to share the experience with somebody and have something to talk about.
I'll just try and catch up to you a bit.
Falling back a little.
Yeah.
I went and spent a weekend on a farm just over there somewhere when I was in primary school.
A whole weekend.
Yeah, it was a couple of nights or a couple of days or something. I don't know if it was, maybe it was a weekend, maybe it was during the week or something. It was a school camp as such. And yeah, stayed on the farm and did all sorts of farm things.
So what got you interested in aviation though, G? What was your spark? What did you
I don't
make you
actually
think
recall. I've always been interested in flight, aircraft and flying, and as little as I can remember, I've always been interested in planes.
So, that trip to the farm just didn't do it for you, for the sounds of it.
No, it
Definitely
didn't have
weren't
enough
gonna
wings
be a
for me. No, there wasn't really one thing that I can remember that made me interested in flying. It was just I've always been interested in flying. I mean, who isn't interested in flying? Look at the scenery. It's great.
Yeah, I know. Freaks,
Go
right?
anywhere.
Yes. I think I'm the same as you. Like, I don't recall like a time that I wasn't interested in it.
Yeah.
It's hard to put like a definitive time on it. Just as long as I can remember, really. It's one of those things that you just know that you're gonna have one of those sort of interests for a long time. So
Yeah.
is that a small airstrip I spot on the top of that hill there?
Whereabouts?
Like just off to your left, probably about 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about.
Is that an airfield, or is it just the way the road is?
No, it's just a straight road.
Interesting.
Yeah, you're right though. From a little far back, it looks like a.
Look like an airfield. Yeah, with the hangars and
I'm gonna
probably
go
just a
left
farm with a shed.
slightly and cut the corner here because I think I can see the bluff, so we'll just fly straight towards that. I think.
Okay.
There's only so much beach you can look at. And eventually we'll be saying there's only so much farmland you can look at. Where's the beach?
Well, we know what you feel about farms, so we'll try and cut some of those out.
See, that's interesting down there. I don't know what that is exactly, or where that is exactly, but it's a place I've never been.
So maybe it might be, as we're coming into Goolwa, it might be time to have a chat about maybe how we met. That's probably a good place to have a little quick discussion.
It was such a long time
Probably
ago.
have to go into too much detail.
I
It was.
can't
How many
remember.
years has it been now, G? Probably 20.
Yeah,
20
20
years?
odd. Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how old am
Was
I?
it
Yeah,
cadets?
probably
The
over 20.
Australian Air League was, yeah, the Australian Air League was a cadet group. It's
Yeah,
still a cadet group. And yeah, like G said earlier, we started off. We both lived in Adelaide, and was it Lark Space Squadron?
Large Bay. Yeah,
Yeah. And that was actually quite a lot of our time was there. But I remember the first time starting cadets. Like you can be basically from the age of 8, and it's I actually remember you quite vividly. Like you were sitting there doing electronics, I think, first time
yep.
around. So yeah, the air league's about just aviation in general. So all those hobbies that not hobbies, but all those aspects of aviation come into it. So
It's like
you
Air
do
Scouts
different
of sorts.
like
But
scouts, yeah.
yeah, kind of like Scouts, but
But
just aviation based.
do you
Your computer might be melting again.
you probably don't. Oh, here we go. Just what
Yeah,
we needed.
yeah. That was a disjointed sentence there. I got the start of it, missed the middle, got the end of it. Yes, your computer just needs to hold it together for like 10 more minutes. Just 10 more minutes. We're almost there.
It's probably got
Dropping out every other word.
I think probably because we're coming up. Might be coming up to Victor Harbour. I might just go a bit higher and see if that solves it.
Go higher, go out over the ocean or something. So that's I can't remember what the name of that island is, the small one to our right there. But the mountain in front of us is the bluff. And then we have I think it's Wright Island, the one to the left of the bluff. And then there's another small one out the thing, but the large one almost in front of us is Granite Island. It's a home to a penguin colony and an interesting tourist attraction of sorts. You can walk over. There's a causeway that goes over there with a horse-drawn tram and all sorts. But yeah, this is Victor Harbour. Well, this technically is Encounter Bay, but whole area is generally known as Victor Harbour. Looks pretty accurate. Some good scuba diving off that island. And off the bluff as well. Still with us there, Amy?
I'm still here, mate.
Still there? Cool. How's the frames over there? A little bit higher up. They're slightly better. The Inman Valley River running through the town there. Used to live down there. Right there on the river. No, you're cutting out again, I think. Doesn't like the cities. Went to school down there at Oilers.
How far away is that airport, G?
We're not far. We're coming up past Port Elliot, so it's maybe 5 minutes. See the next town just up there? That's where we're headed.
Yep.
We should actually probably start considering a
Descent.
Actually, we're almost lined up directly for the runway to have to take a left-hand turn, but we're almost in range of the runway. So.
Oh. I've lost sight of you. I think you might be below me, but
yeah, I'm off to your right and just slightly below.
Is this a grass strip here at Goolwa? Paved?
I think it's paved. Used to be a grass strip, I think, but I think it's paved now. Yeah, no, it's definitely paved. It might still have a grass strip, but the one we're coming into is definitely paved.
Okay.
Can't remember the name of that. Horseshoe Bay. That's that down there. There's some good whale watching from down there.
Oh yeah, I see the runway.
You're in front of me, so if you want to go in first.
Yeah, I've got the Mayday call, don't I?
Yep. Yeah, you've got issues with your with your frames. So.
Mayday, frames. Alright, let's come in for a landing, shall we?
Oh yeah, I see the runway.
It's paved.
Yep.
Which is good.
What's going to crash first, you or your computer?
Probably you, if I had to guess, mate.
Oh, thanks.
So I don't know why it dropped some frames back there earlier. Like, this is no different to the scenery
seems to have
earlier.
cleaned up now. It's quite nice now. It's just
Weird.
it just doesn't like all those buildings.
Yeah. Alright, I'm on finals.
I'm right behind you.
God. Quite a long runway, this one.
500.
Yeah, can't see where I'm going. Need to sit up more. Alrighty, I think I made it. Clearing off the runway for you.
I'm already down. I'm right behind you.
Let me just cut across this grass here. There we go. Nice smoke, mate.
That's not the parking area, jeez.
No, it's not.
I don't know where the parking area is here.
No, I think it's over by that hut.
It definitely doesn't have any taxiways, or is there one at the end here? Oh, there might be one right at the end.
I think it's all grass, actually.
There's one at the end here.
Huh. Oh, I'm glad you found it.
You just go right to the end of the runway.
I'm just gonna park up next to this Bowser. Fuel pump. Very nice. Well, it's good to be back on the ground.
It was a successful first leg of our very long adventure.
And brakes on. And parking brake, wherever that is, there it is.
I'm just going to go park it over here with the other aircraft. Oh, there's even someone there waiting to wave me in. Did you notice that there's guys there that wave you in like they do on the carrier?
I didn't notice that, no.
Yeah, no, they wave their arms and the whole bit.
That's handy.
Yeah, it's very cool. So you get proper lineup.
I actually think I've got that turned off, to be honest. I can't afford the frames.
You can't afford the frames. Oh,
funny. That's pretty much concludes this first leg.
It does. Our next leg will be from here to
I think we're looking at the Grampians or Avalon or something like that.
Probably
actually,
Mount
no,
Gambier.
it was Mount Gambier. That's right.
Yeah, maybe a little bit further, depending on what we can find along the way. But yeah, we'll see how far we get. We'll plan on maybe Mount Gambier, and if we get there really quickly and nothing much has happened, we might go a little bit further. But yes, do join us. All of our details should be in our descriptions. So Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, all of the things. So feel free to find us in those places and leave any comments or suggestions or challenges or whatever.
Yeah, definitely places you want to see on our trip.
Yep. Places you want to see or things you want us to do. And yes, join us next time. So yeah, thank you all for watching.
Thank you, G, for the flight.
No problems. Thank you for joining us.